Ajatasattu. The main cause of this situation stemmed from Devadatta, who was the Buddha's cousin, early in the Buddha's enlightenment. He ordained Devadatta along with 4 other relatives and 2 followers. They all moved to reside with the Buddha at Veluvana Vihara. However, because Devadatta harbored deep-seated jealousy towards the Buddha and desired to rule all the bhikkhus in his stead, Devadatta devised a plan to destroy the Buddha by persuading King Bimbisara's son, who was then Prince Ajatasattu, to have faith in him through various displays of miraculous powers. Prince Ajatasattu became deeply devoted and donated his own wealth to build a vihara and hermitage for Devadatta, which was many times more magnificent and splendid than the Buddha's, and invited Devadatta to reside separately from the Buddha. During that time, there was an incident of followers being drawn away, with monks who favored miraculous powers secretly joining Devadatta's community. Some of Devadatta's disciples also infiltrated the Buddha's community, trying to persuade others to have faith in Devadatta. Most bhikkhus who did not yet understand the concept of being Buddha were drawn to Devadatta because his displays were more marvelous and exciting. At that time, it was difficult to distinguish who belonged to which side, as they were all bhikkhus wearing natural-colored robes. Then, Devadatta incited Prince Ajatasattu to eliminate King Bimbisara so that the prince could ascend to the throne. Since King Bimbisara still had faith in the Buddha, this would also eliminate an obstacle. Prince Ajatasattu, believing it to be the advice of someone he respected and had faith in, was misled and plotted to kill his own father. However, due to his suspicious behavior, coupled with the anxiety of committing such a crime, King Bimbisara's royal guards discovered the plot and informed the king. Upon learning of this, instead of punishing Prince Ajatasattu, King Bimbisara abdicated the throne and allowed Prince Ajatasattu to become king. The situation seemed to have ended well, as Prince Ajatasattu had now become the king of Rajasthan. However, driven by Devadatta's jealousy, which was like an evil spirit possessing him, he advised King Ajatasattu to imprison King Bimbisara to cut off support for the Buddha and potentially prevent him from reclaiming power. To nip it in the bud, this became a chaotic time for Veluvana Temple. The Buddha, assessing the situation, realized that if he continued to reside at the temple, he and all the bhikkhus might be falsely accused and face danger, as Devadatta had gained influence over King Ajatasattu and could manipulate right and wrong. King Ajatasattu was ready to follow Devadatta's every command. Therefore, the Buddha decided to travel to Savatthi on the night that King Ajatasattu ordered King Bimbisara to be imprisoned. Leaving Veluvana Vihara deserted as you see it now, Lord Foch explained. "Oh, then why can the Buddha come back now? Isn't he afraid?" I asked. Just over 2 years after that incident, King Ajatasattu's queen gave birth to a son. The king loved his son dearly, nurturing and caring for him himself without ever leaving his side. One day, he wondered if, during his own infancy, King Bimbisara had loved and cared for him in the same way he loved his son. He turned to the elderly Brahmin priest, who had been an advisor and companion to King Bimbisara, to ask. The high priest informed him that it was exactly the same, without any difference. Upon receiving this answer, he felt remorse and remembered his father whom he had imprisoned. He quickly ordered his father to be released, but it was too late. King Bimbisara had passed away less than 6 hours before he was to be released. Soon after, his mother, who was already grieving, also passed away following King Ajatasattu was deeply saddened and felt remorseful that his actions had been equivalent to killing both his parents, due to his intellectual blindness and his belief in Devadatta's words. After that, King Ajatasattu stopped supporting Devadatta and never consulted him on any matters again. King Ajatasattu's sorrow never faded, even though many months had passed. The thought constantly lingered and hammered in his mind that he was the one who killed his father and mother. Shame and fear of the sin he had committed caused King Ajatasattu to lose his appetite and sleep. His body began to deteriorate, and he became withdrawn, not wanting to speak to or see anyone. One day, while he was exhausted and lost in a trance of worry, a voice arose in his head. "Listen, Ajatasattu, you can judge for yourself who has attained the Dharma, no matter how great their supernatural powers, if they still harbor hatred and malice towards others. No matter who, they cannot be called to have seen the Dharma." The voice in his head arose. King Ajatasattu immediately recognized that it was the Buddha's voice, from when he had visited while the king was starting to build Devadatta's Dharma hole. But at that time, he had not paid attention because he was blinded, even thinking arrogantly that the Buddha was probably afraid that Devadatta's community would become larger and more beautiful. So he was jealous and came to see him to stop the construction. When he realized this, he decided to gather a few close soldiers and guards and set off on horseback to see the Buddha in Savatthi immediately. He traveled for only 20 hours to reach Savatthi. Upon arriving, he immediately went to see the Buddha without resting, eager to find an answer to how he could be free from the karmic consequences of his actions. The first thing King Ajatasattu did before the Buddha was to prostrate himself and apologize for his past prejudice against the Buddha and confess his own foolishness in believing Devadatta's words. "What should I do? Now I feel remorse, but it seems it is too late. I have committed the most heinous crimes. Please guide me," King Ajatasattu said to the Buddha. "Since I cannot prevent anyone from doing evil, I also cannot help anyone escape the consequences of that evil. I knew well the day I came to see you to stop you from doing those things because I knew that one day you would feel regret, both for yourself and those around you. On that day, I tried my best, even though I knew it was futile. Still, you did not listen. I could only watch and pray that you would gain the eye of Dharma quickly, an eye that sees everything as it truly is, without bias or prejudice, before the harmful consequences became too difficult to rectify." The Buddha said, "Do you have anything that would allow me to atone for those wrongs?" "I am ready to do anything," King Ajatasattu pleaded. "Listen, Ajatasattu, there is no erasing what has already been done. It is like you have set fire to a forest full of dry leaves. The fire has burned the forest to the ground. No one can bring the trees that have been burned to ashes back to life. What you can do is replant that forest and diligently nurture it, water it, and prevent anyone from destroying it again. Your mind is the same. Now, diligently water and cultivate it. The mind that once saw wrongly, once understood wrongly, you must change it anew to become right-seeing, right understanding, right action. This new mind must be filled with the highest love and compassion. Anything that is malice, anything that is hatred, anything that causes division and discord, you must not associate with it. From now on, look forward to rectifying what you have already done. Whenever there are terrible events that cause you pain and suffering, that cause you sorrow and loss, you must willingly accept them. You must sincerely forgive everyone who causes you pain. If you are fortunate, you may have the opportunity to face these events in this lifetime, to correct what you have done, so that the karmic consequences will disappear. But if not, you may have to wait to face them in future lifetimes. Please remember that every situation that happens to you is the result of actions that you are solely responsible for, no matter when, whether you knew or did not know the origin, whether you saw or did not see the cause. It is extremely fortunate that it happened quickly, so that you can face and rectify it all. Having faced it, do not hold grudges or harbor malice. Having faced it, be able to love those who wronged you as a father loves his child. The Buddha said. At the end of the Buddha's last sentence, King Ajatasattu burst into tears with great sorrow. His crying was loud and mournful, like a child being whipped, completely disregarding the gazes of his close soldiers and followers. Father, I was wrong. I repent, King Ajatasattu cried out, confessing his sins. Listen, Ajatasattu, now you have entered the stream of Buddha. You have an awareness of right and wrong. You are willing to accept the consequences of your actions. From now on, it is time for you to prove before the Buddha that you can do it, and that you will not repeat the mistake. I will ask you one thing. Will you promise me? The Buddha said after seeing that he had calmed down. Yes, Lord. Please tell me. I am willing to do anything, King Ajatasattu said. Do not inadvertently hate the one who caused you to be in this state, because it will further stain and wound your soul. Bestow love upon him. What you should do is admonish him, so that he does not cause others to be misled and create the same kind of karma that happened to you. I emphasize, do not do this with hatred or retaliation. You must do it with compassion. In fact, you also share responsibility for this. If you had wisdom, knowing right from wrong, you would know what is appropriate and what is not. Therefore, you must accept the consequences. You cannot blame him alone. This world is a free world, full of choices and temptations. You chose it yourself, the Buddha advised. Are you referring to dividend? He asked. Yes. Can you promise me? Purification of sin must be done by not creating sin. Please gradually purify each matter, no matter how terrible the story. Please accept and bestow compassion on those who have wronged you. Consider it compensation for what you have done to your father and mother. The Buddha replied, I promise to do as you say. Good. Ajatasattu. One more thing, you must diligently do good deeds or help those around you, your subjects, and other people in the world. This is the new thing you can do. This is the forest you will gradually plant anew. One good deed is equivalent to planting one tree. Plant every day, one by one. You must diligently water, cultivate, and care for them to grow strong, provide shade, and bear flowers and fruit, benefiting humanity and all living beings. Even though this new forest you plant will not be the same as the original forest you burned down, if the peace and tranquility of the complete forest returns, if the calm and peaceful mind that can be a refuge for your people returns, it can compensate for the original or even be better than the original. I promise that from now on, I will only do good deeds. King Ajatasattu said. I understand. That's the whole story. Lord Foch, then where did Akita's group go next? I asked.